Hi, hello. This is A-Level Maths Tutor UK, and in today's video here, I'm just going to do a summary of my advice in terms of how to ace an exam. So if you're doing your GCSE or A-Level exams coming up this summer in 2023, or if you're watching this in future years, 2024, 2025, and so on and so on, it's applicable for any year you do an exam. So this is just a video on how you ace an exam, how you prepare for an exam, and actually, during the exam, just tips that I have for you to do well in exams. Now, this video is mainly specifically focused on maths, GCSE, and maths A-level exams. However, it's applicable, I guess, across most subjects, so science subjects, computing, and so on and so on. More the science-based subjects, but I guess you could apply this in any exam, whether it be in humanities, the arts as well. But yeah, this video is about how you ace an exam, in my opinion. So the first thing to mention is that your preparation is really key here. So obviously the first point that I've made here is make sure that you have revised. If you've not revised, you're not going to do very well. So you need to have revised these exams. Now, have you completed and reviewed lots of past papers? So it's really important, especially in a subject like maths or physics, chemistry, that you have completed past papers and you have gone through those past papers. You've tried to do those past papers in exam conditions, and you've reviewed those past papers. You've not just done the past papers and marked them and gave yourself a score. You've reviewed them. So you've done summaries, maybe like some revision cards or a summary of the questions that you struggle with and the topics that you struggle with. So it's really important that you did that process in the weeks leading up to the exam. Otherwise, you will not do very well. So please do make sure in these the next few weeks before the exams this summer, you do your past paper and review them, review the mark schemes, review your answers, and have an honest assessment of what you know and what you don't know. The second point that I've made here is this: so if there are topics or questions that you don't understand, ask for help. It's really important in the next few weeks that if there is a topic you're struggling with, or there is a question that you've seen in your past papers, your homework that you don't understand, you ask a teacher or maybe a private tutor online, or maybe you use YouTube or online forums such as the student room, for example, where you can ask questions and you get that help, because it's really important you ask for help. Because if you don't ask help with topics you don't understand and it comes up in the exam, a similar kind of question, or that topic that you don't get, you're not going to do very well. You're going to lose marks. So get that help now. Now is the time to get that help. And the last point I've made here is get a good routine. So this is actually a really important one in the weeks leading up to your exam, or your exams. Multiple of them you'll probably be doing. You want to get a good routine. So you want to be getting up early in the morning and going to bed early. So getting into this routine of going to bed early, getting up early, setting your alarm for like 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, no later than 7:30 in the morning. You want to be going to bed early, no later than 11 o'clock at night, and you want to be getting up probably about 6:30, 7 a.m. latest, and getting to this routine of getting up early, getting to bed early, getting a good night's sleep, good rest, and continuing that for a few weeks before the exam. So that's really important, because if you do get up early and you get a good night's sleep, it means you're going to be refreshed, rejuvenated for the day, and especially when the exams come around on exam day, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel in a good state with good energy. So then on the morning of your exam, obviously, yeah, get a good night's sleep. So that relates to what I just said now. Get up early in the morning in the weeks leading up to your exams. Go to bed early. Get a good night's sleep on the night before your exam. So do make sure you're getting that good night's sleep, because obviously if you don't, you're going to be tired and drained during the exam, and you don't want that. You want to be performing at your optimal best, and which is why, again, this point 3 back here that I mentioned on the previous slide here, getting a good routine is really important, because if you get that routine of getting consistently 7-8 hours sleep in the weeks leading up to your exams, it means that on the night before your first exam, you're going to get a good night's sleep. Whereas if you're staying up late to midnight, for 3 weeks, the 3 weeks before your exam, and then you come to the night before your exam, and you're staying up to 2 in the morning, and your exam's at 9 in the morning, you're only going to get a few hours sleep. So it's really important you get into this routine weeks before the exam. So you're in that routine and you can go onto the night before the exam, get a good night's sleep and get up early. So that's really important. So you want to just have a quick scan through your summary notes or your revision cards or the topics that you've been focusing on during your revision. So on that morning, you just want to have a quick scan through your notes. So look at your notes, look at your revision cards, specifically the topics that maybe you struggled on during your revision, or you know that you have difficulty with. Just a little scan through those. Maybe you can make a couple of notes here and there on some revision cards just to remind yourself of those topics or of those questions that you focused on in your revision. And then this last point, yes, so this is an important one in my opinion. So do not do any full-on, I'll put this in quotation marks, full-on revision or exam questions in the morning of your exam. You're going to feel drained and tired. Don't do that. Don't be doing a past paper, right before your exam. You're going to be tired. You're going to be drained, and don't be doing any strenuous hard revision. You don't need to do that on the morning of your exam. It will make you drained. And you'll feel more nervous because you'll be thinking to yourself, you'll be thinking that you've missed out on stuff or there's topics you didn't focus on. It'll just make you more nervous. And if that is the case, so for example, if you do some revision in the morning of your exam and you've realized, oh, there's a topic that I didn't really do revision on, and I'm really worried about that, you're just going to feel more nervous, and then you're going to go into the exam nervous, stressed, anxious, and you're not going to do very well. So if there are topics you haven't focused on and you realize that on the morning of your exam, don't bother going through them because you're just going to feel nervous, and you don't want to feel nervous right before an exam because you won't do very well. You just won't do well. And then this last kind of few points that I want to make here. So remember that during the exam, it's really important to remember, in my opinion, that there are no trick questions. So every question that you see in that exam is not beyond the syllabus. So no question asked in the exam is beyond the syllabus. Every question you get is a question assessed from the syllabus. So do not be looking at a really hard question thinking, oh God, this is really hard, I can't do this. If you studied it, if you studied the syllabus, if you've done your revision, in theory, you should be able to answer that question. So I know obviously in reality, you're probably not going to get 100%. I mean, people do. And if you do, congratulations. But most people won't be able to answer every question. But it's important to remember that there are no trick questions and that you can, in theory, answer every question in the exam if you've studied all of the syllabus. So do remember that there's nothing in the exam designed to trick you. They are questions in which, in theory, you should be able to answer if you put your mind to it. The next point that's really important here is just to remember in the exam what your objective is. Your objective is to obtain as many marks as possible in that time limit. So, you want to be writing information down for each question. So when you see a question, what I like to do is just write down some relevant information that relates to that question. So let's say you get a question in maths talking about the area of a circle, and it might say, it could say to you that the area of a circle is 10 centimeters squared. So it could be a good idea just to write down in the answer space, area of a circle equals pi r squared, right? So just something like that relevant to the question, because what that will do is it may not be enough to get you a mark, but it will jog your memory, it will jog your brain, it will get the clogs going in your brain, and it will get you thinking about how you could use that information to solve the question that you're being asked to solve. So it's important that you do write down relevant information for every question. So my advice is, for every question you see in the exam, write something down. It could be a sentence, could be a formula, something relevant down to the question, or a piece of information that you see in the question. Just write something down. It will get the clogs going in your brain. So that would be my advice to that. And remember, you're trying to get as many marks as possible. So it's important you do try and write something down, because it could be a mark. And even if it's not worth a mark, you're thinking about the problem, you're engaged in the question, and it will help you see if there is like an avenue you can take to get marks. The next point is this. So if you have made no progress on a question after, let's say, a couple minutes, I mean, it really does depend on like how many marks there are available in your exam. But let's say for like a maths or a physics exam, you've not made any progress after like 2 minutes, do move on to the next one. Don't waste too much time, on one question. If you are not making progress, you do need to just move on to the next one, because you don't want to be wasting time not making any progress with any question. I mean, again, it does depend on, your subject, the amount of marks available in your exam. But generally for like maths and science, about 2 minutes. If you're spending more than 2 minutes and you've not written anything down, or if you have written something down and you've not made any progress, just move on to the next one. Because again, your objective is to collect as many marks as possible. You want to try and get any single mark. Every mark counts. So you're trying to obtain as many marks as you can. And if you're wasting 2 minutes of time not doing anything, you need to go to the next question to pick up some more marks. And then this is a really, really important one, especially in maths, physics, chemistry, the science subjects. And I guess for any subject really, even if you can't do part A of a question, that doesn't mean you can't do part B. So it's really important to realize this, because especially in science and maths exams, the part A of the question normally gives you the answer. So normally in part A of a question, it will say to you, so maybe in maths, show that x equals 10, right? So it won't actually say to you in part A of the question, calculate x. It will say to you, in this question, show that x equals 10. And then part B will be calculate this using your part A answer. So they will normally give you the answer in part A, and then you can use that answer in part B. So even if you don't show the correct answer in part A, you can still use what they've given you, or you can use the information prior to that in the question to answer part B. So do not think just because you can't do part A, that doesn't mean you can't do part B. Yes, you can do part B. So yes, even if you can't do part A, go to part B of the question and use the information in the question, or maybe use the answer that they gave you in part A. So again, with my example, if part A was show that x equals 10, you can still use that part A, x equals 10, in the next part of the question. So do that. Do not just skip the entire question just because you can't do part A. You're throwing away marks. It's really, really important. So yeah, that was just a summary of what to do during the exam, how to prepare for the exam, and also the morning of your exam, which is really important as well. So any questions, any comments, please do comment below in the comments. And please do subscribe to the channel, especially if you are an A-level maths student. I produce A-level maths content every week, so please do subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested in working with me for tutoring, please do email me at doctordifferentiation@gmail.com. So I'll write this here. So tutoring for A-level maths, so specifically A-level maths is what I focus on. Do email me at doctor differentiation let me try and write that a bit neater just so it's clear for you. Doctor differentiation at gmail.com. So please do send me an email if you are interested in working with me for A-level maths specifically. But again, any other questions with this video on how you ace an A-level GCSE exam, please do comment in the comments below. So yeah, please subscribe, please like, please share, and thank you for watching.